And I want to show you something. Oh, what is that? That is a creature of some sorts. What is that? It's an aquatic creature, some sort of a lizard of some sorts. But anyway, that much said, here is the end result of the Typhoon Whippa, which has gone down considerably. Anyway, this is a much nicer view of the river, actually, or the canal. I don't know what, like, I guess a canal is, like, this could be a river, but because it flows, right? And a canal doesn't generally flow. I mean, so they call it a canal, but I would say it's more like a river canal, because it irrigates, but at the same time, it flows all the way down, you know. So let's see what's out here this morning. What is it? Today's Friday? No, today's Saturday. Saturday morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:07. So here we go. We're on that little morning voyage like we've been doing every day now. And we're off to a great start. Look at this. All the water's down. It is drizzling a little bit right now. But these people got hit bad by the water. This was a lake a little while ago. But anyway, people know how to deal with it. And, I guess that's a good thing. We're actually going to turn left today. Normally we turn right, but we're going to turn left because it's new scenery, right? And we want to see something new, right? Not the same old walk every day, Anyway, it's got a slight little bit of a drizzle today. Well, actually, this house, when my wife and I first moved here, they wanted to sell us this house for, I think, 600,000 baht. It would have been sunk under the water for a long time. But probably a good buy, actually. Anyway, then you have another house over here. This is like long since overgrown, and I don't even know if you can see the house in the back, but I kind of like to see the house in the back. I mean, if I could get away with it, I'd like go back there and like check it out and see what's going on. But this is completely overgrown. I'm trying to get some sort of an angle to see the house back there, but this is completely overgrown. Nature is taking over, and that's that. Anyway, let's see how long we last. I think we're going to be able to make it down to the market this morning. And yesterday, if you were here yesterday, I was telling you I'm going to the market and I'm going to buy the umbrella. Today, I'm sure they will have the umbrellas, even though they didn't have them yesterday. But yesterday was the first day back out since the Typhoon Whippa had totally ravaged this town. Right? It's a small town. Probably 3,000 or 4,000 people live here. Something like that. And here we go on the main drag. I like the main drag. Oh, and here's another one. See, here's the thing. In this town, right, I've said this before, a lot of people don't live here who are under the age of 40. So what happens is you'll see houses like this, and, you can see there's no gardening or anything like that. Somebody used to live there. And so what happens is, sooner or later, people pass away, and either their kids live in another place and don't want to come back and don't sell it, or they don't have any kids and it stays abandoned for quite a long time. I don't know what the statute, there's like if there's some sort of a statute for abandoned property with no resident, not residents, with no next of kin to claim it. Anyway, it's quite nice. Hop home, and we're gonna do our morning walk and do our thing. See what's what. This road's not gonna have too much of strange things on it. I'll show you. Actually, I can show you another thing. Is that my wife's aunt lives right up here. As a matter of fact, it's right here. And we used to have. Yeah, let's go take a look. We used to have a lot of parties in here back in the day. Right? Is this her house? No, that's not her house. Wrong house. All right. Back in the day, we used to have a lot of parties in her house. It was her aunt's house. And actually, when I first met my wife, her grandmother was still alive living there with her uncle. Both have since passed away, unfortunately. But yeah, so people come up here sometimes, from my wife's side of the family, and they come up here for holidays and stuff like that. But that's like once a year, and the family has been getting smaller and smaller. Like my wife's mother, is one of like 11 children, right? And she had 2 children, and my wife had 1 child. So when you think about it, it's like the family is almost gone, But for generations and generations before that, you're living in a farm community, you would have, multiple siblings and stuff like that. Not so much anymore, Apparently, if you listen to Elon Musk, he's saying there's going to be a population decline. But I think that us older people, I'm not really an older person yet. I'm 55. But I'm talking about like the 70 years old people around here. They take care of themselves. They don't need, nurses and stuff like that, generally speaking, And if they do, their neighbors help them. So it's kind of like, different all over the world, But we all know Elon Musk is crazy. So, I mean, in good and bad ways. I guess I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible. But I mean, whatever. A person like that who has all that money. Can you imagine having like $400 billion? And why would you hold on to it? I would, if I had $400 billion, what I would do? I don't even need $400 billion, but if I had like a lot of money, what I would do is I would just like buy like nature land and just like, leave it to the animals and stuff like that. My wife wants to do something like that, but she wants to buy a mountain, and she wants to live on the mountain, I think, and make it a sanctuary. I mean, I don't want to just buy a mountain. I would like to buy the mountain range and the valley and everything like that, because you could do that with, quite a few million, a few $1 million, That wouldn't be a bad thing to do if you like think about like what you use money. You need a yacht. You need like Jeff Bezos. He has a yacht that costs $500 million. right? I mean, what do you need that for? Bill Gates has one for like $350 million or whatever. I mean, what's really the point of that? You know, it doesn't do humanity any good. It's like you're rich and you just want to be some fucking asshole with a lot of money. Never forget that money does not make the man. Never has, never will. You know, money does not make the man. You know, you see plenty of people with like, you know, large sums of money in the bank and stuff like that. They're some of the worst, pathetic, miserable people you will ever meet. You know? But like if you're สวัสดีครับฝนตกแล้วอะไรนะครับเนี่ยไปตลาดชายอยากซื้อหลอมเดินออกกำลังครับไปด้วยอ่ะYou know what I mean? I mean, like, how much money do you really need? You know, I see things like people need. Oh, they need $7 million to feel. You need $7 million to feel like you're financially secure. I mean, I don't even have $7,000. I feel plenty fine. I feel plenty secure and happy. Hey, what's going on, Brent? Brent, I'm sorry I missed your chat. I didn't see it because I was like, you know, talking here and there. But Brent, it's good to see you. If you're still in the chat, thank you for coming by. Appreciate you. You know, appreciate all of you that come here because, you know, you give me some kind of a connection that I can talk to outside of where I am. And yeah, you know, I don't know. I really enjoy it. I enjoy hearing the questions you guys have to say or the advice you have to give me or something like that. I love that. You know, that's what humans, you know, that's what we've been all about for 300,000 years is communicating and talking to people. Right? That's the way I see it. I don't know. Anyway, they haven't cleaned up all the garbage yet, but that'll get cleaned up sooner or later. In the next couple days, there'll be no garbage on the street, and everybody will be back to normal. You know? I'm going back over to this Talad. Like I said, I don't want to buy any meat products or anything like that. I don't feel like eating any meat at the moment. I don't feel like eating any meat products at the moment. But I do feel like buying an umbrella. I'd like a nice umbrella. You know, it's interesting because, like, the best umbrella I ever saw in my life, my father, God rest his soul, he would buy, like, English-made umbrellas. And those things are very well made, you know? They're like sort of like a status symbol or something like that, you know? I don't know. I don't really need one of those, nor can I afford one. But I certainly wouldn't mind getting a decent umbrella, you know? One that's going to cover me when the rain comes, and I guess that's what's important. And it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. But I can't believe it. The market isn't open again? No way. How can they not be open? The floods are gone. Oh boy. We're looking like oh, no. I spoke too soon. You see that way up in there in the distance? You want me to zoom for you? I'm going to zoom for you guys. You see that? Way up there. Way up there. You can see that, right? That's where we're going. And hopefully get an umbrella. But there was something else that I wanted to get, right? Yesterday I bought a whiteboard, right? So I can like write out timelines because I do history videos. So this latest history video that I'm doing is about the age of exploration, or what's called the what was it called? Was it called the Renaissance? Yeah, the Renaissance. You know, basically from 1450 to 1550, right? Which was really the age of exploration, even though it continue on into like the 18th century and stuff like that. But the critical point that I'm interested in is the late 15th century, because there's a lot of information there, if you really dig, that is not commonly taught in at least it wasn't taught in the schools that I went to, right? So it was a lot more complicated, but I guess for the sake of brevity, when I went to school, and nationalism probably also, you know, they gave me the abbreviated version of what they wanted me to know. And I guess that's what they do. I guess they do that in all schools, you know. But I'm having a ball just absolutely learning about Southeast Asia, down in Indonesia, and in the Malacca Strait and stuff like that. Absolutely fascinating topic, because a lot of what is like the popularly known isn't what was really happening, you know. I mean, it's very, very, very interesting, and if you can link a lot of the timelines, like for example, like the Ming Dynasty was in China, and that was in like 1350 or so, right? So it was like for like a 10 or 15 year period where they banned like all like maritime travel, except for with the exception of their admiral Zheng He, and he went out with something like 50 boats and 5,000 men. But what he went out was, he wasn't going out for war or anything like that. They were going out to like go sail into the Indian Ocean and pay tribute to the different governments and kings and rajas and sultans and stuff like that. It was not a imperialistic thing. When the Dutch, no, not the Dutch, when the Portuguese showed up, right? Portuguese showed up in, I think, what do you call it? The Portuguese showed up in 1509. 1509, the first Portuguese made contact with the Sultanate of Malacca. Malacca was a city, but the Sultanate of that area, I forget what the name of it is. And then in 1509, these Portuguese soldiers, they got captured, and they tried to steal their the merchants that were there didn't want they didn't want competition, supposedly, right? So like we have to dig a little further into the history to find out what was really happening, and we have to hear the perspective of other parties. But needless to say, that happened in 1509, and then in 1511, the Portuguese sent warships over to Malacca, and subsequently, Sorry, Luong. วันนี้มีลมไหมครับลมไม่มีที่หน้าธนาคารยังไม่เปิดเปิดประมาณ11 โมงโอเคขอบคุณอะไรAll right, the market's picked up a lot more than it had picked up before, and you can get all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to walk in there because there's really nothing that I want to buy or need to buy at this moment. But it is nice to see that everybody's back doing their thing. You know, as they say, the beat goes on. The beat goes on. Anyway, so back to what the Portuguese things. From my understanding, from what I've learned, is that Manuel the First was the king of Portugal, and he sent this guy named Diogo Lopez Sequeira to go find Malacca. And this trip, supposedly, from what I've read, now I don't know what the documents say because I haven't looked fully, but from officially from what I've read, is that this trip was specifically to go to Malacca because Manuel the First, or Manuel the Fortunate, as they know him, or Manuel the Handsome, the King of Portugal, wanted to make contact for trade. But he wanted to make contact for trade in Malacca. But what ended up happening is that the sailors, a lot of sailors went ashore in Malacca. The Diego Lopez Sequeira stayed in the boat, and a number of sailors were captured. So a number of sailors were captured by the Sultanate, or or they were Muslim traders, right? But here's the thing. That Malacca, the Strait of Malacca and the Malacca city was a hub for trade for India, Bangladesh. I don't know if it was Bangladesh. I doubt it was. But they had all these little kingdoms and stuff like that, sultanates and everything like that. So it was a major hub. Like the Indians were coming over, and the Chinese would send their ships to come down. Hit the gritty. What's that? Bomb. I'm leaving. Bomb. Tonight. Oh, we got Kontayu. Swadee Kab. Sabari Lupao. Pum Kui. The Anacod. Anacod con Portuguese. Gab Malacca con Kek. Anyway, so what happened was, after 1509, and that trading mission was a failure, the governor, which was Portuguese, because the Portuguese had already established a city in Goa, right? And so the Duke of, I guess they called him the Duke of Goa, who was a Portuguese guy. His name was Afonso de Albuquerque. And he decided to send another fella and himself, because he wasn't in Goa at the time. He was actually in Sulawesi, Indonesia. And they sailed up to Malacca, and they then laid siege to Malacca, and they ended up capturing Malacca. Now, Malacca at that time did not have, it was an import-only city, right? So they didn't have any crops to cultivate or anything like that. It was strictly a port city, right? Which they would use to export up and down the Javan coast. Anyway, it took the Portuguese just about a month to take the city of Malacca. Now, Malacca actually happened to be surrounded by water, and their main way that they took Malacca was to destroy the bridge, because there was a bridge from Malacca to the mainland. And they destroyed that, so the armies were cut in two. And they just, because they had weapons that people hadn't seen at that time, they had the guns, they had flintlock guns, matchlock guns, cannons, and stuff like that. It was sort of like when Don Juan Pizarro went down to, South America and conquered the Aztecs, and he went with like 127 men and conquered a population of like 5 million with 127 men, just because he had horses, armor, and ammunition and guns, But we're not talking about Pizarro. We're talking about Indonesia, more specifically Malacca. So once they secured Malacca, once the Portuguese secured Malacca, they actually had to send an envoy, a special envoy, to Ayutthaya. Now, at that time, Ayutthaya was the capital of Siam. It was not called Thailand at the time. So they had to send a special envoy to Siam to talk to the king. And the reason for that is Siam had claims to Malacca. So it's like it's sort of like getting into like the muck and the mire of people making claims over land. So he dispatched a fellow named by the name of Duarte something, and he went, and he was very well received by the king. And subsequently, they were granted a portion of land quite sizable, and they were able to form a Portuguese town, not a colony, but a town, about 25 kilometers away from the king's palace. Now, the importance of that was that the Portuguese had no intention, and maybe they would have liked to, but it just wasn't possible for them to colonize Siam, right? And what ended up happening is that this town, which was built in 1567 for the Portuguese, they had like shipbuilders and the like, and they had tradesmen and stuff like that. But they also had something that King Nasri, forgive me for mispronouncing his name, but King Nasrian the Great wanted, and what that was, he wanted Portuguese mercenaries because they had guns and they had different military tactics because Burma had invaded Thailand. And they ended up ultimately sacking Ayutthaya, which was then the capital of Siam before it became Thailand, before they connected the kingdoms, and then they had a unified country. So King Nasriwan, something like that. They did end up expelling the Burmese out of Ayutthaya and out of Thailand. So there's a lot of stories about that, which I'm not going to go into, about the tactics and whatever, and some mythological stuff and everything like that. But that's what the Portuguese, the Portuguese had a very significant role in Thai society. And as a matter of fact, even today, in 2025, there are a couple of enclaves where the Portuguese had settled. But they, over the years, because we're talking about over 500 years, they had assimilated into the culture, married Thai women and men or whatever, and so they ended up assimilating. But they're still there today, and in those neighborhoods, you'll still see some Portuguese signs. There's some Portuguese culture still there, and you can check it out. I plan on going there, going to Ayutthaya for this video, and I plan on going to the neighborhood in Bangkok, which is a small Portuguese enclave in Bangkok. But before I do that, there is a town called Bantam, which is about a half an hour drive from where we are right now. And I've been there before, and I wasn't really doing my history thing at that moment. But if you go to that town, what you'll see is old colonial-like buildings, because Portuguese built their buildings out of cement, generally, like bricks and mortar and stuff like that. Not like the cement buildings, but like bricks and mortar. And in front of each of these houses, you will see a small cross cut out, like it's an indentation. So if you were like traveling 500 years ago through the north of Thailand, and you were like a European explorer, and you happened to be a Christian, and you were lost or something like that, and you got to this town and you saw those crosses on the side of their houses, you knew that you could, make conversation with these people. But you also another thing is, it could literally save your life. And so that's kind of the topic of the video that I'm doing, but that's just kind of briefly glossing over the whole thing, because it's an extremely complex topic, which doesn't it's not solely relegated to the Portuguese or the Siamese or anything like that. You have Malaysians, different groups of Malaysians. You have Muslims. You have Chinese. You have Chinese pirates. There was a very famous Chinese pirate by the name of Chen Zuyi, and he ultimately was captured and killed by Zheng He, the famous Chinese admiral. But I don't know, I just kind of get long-winded about it because I really like the topic, and it's going to be a super interesting video, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy it, because I'm working up on my video editing chops. And hey, what's up, Rachel Cruz? How you doing? How's everything? Hope you're doing well. I'm sorry I didn't see your say hello earlier. I hope you're still here, and if you are still here, God bless you, and I hope everything goes your way today. Right now, I want to tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go to the bank over here, and I'm going to put my little bit of change that I have inside my bank account. Like they have like CDMs. I guess they have those everywhere. I'm just going to put the little bit of money that I have into that bank account. Now, there's another thing I wanted to tell you. And I don't know if you return visitors or anything like that to this channel, but if you see this highway here, that's going south. That's north. This is a main artery from China, drives through Laos, down Thailand, all the way down to the Malaysian coast. It's the artery for transportation of goods and services. It's actually a very important highway. And yeah, hold on a second. Let's see if we can get this done. Hold on, let me put you guys down right here for a second. All right, I'll put you guys there for a second. This chump change in my chump account. Although I do know it doesn't take small. Oh boy, where is the money? It's right here. English language. I want to make a deposit. I can put in 600 baht. Wow, I'm rich. Savings. Confirm. They don't take 20 baht notes. They only take 500 and 100 baht notes. So 500 baht is approximately $15. Maybe a little bit more. 1,000 baht is the biggest note in the land. That's around $32 or so. You know, I heard they're going to introduce the 5,000 baht note, but I don't think anybody's seen that yet. All right, we got our receipt. Look at this. How much money do we have? They don't even show you how much money you have, but they do show you that I made a deposit, which is good. Please take my card. Wow, see, I almost walked away without taking my card. If I hadn't heard that machine say, please take your card. Please take it. Hello, Swadee Krab, Arun Sawat, Sabadi Lupao. If I didn't hear that machine telling me to take my card, I was going to leave it. But somebody would have given it back to me, you know, like the bank would have, like, you know, given it back to me. So it was not really a big deal, you know, I mean, per se. คนไทยคุณอยู่ไหนครับอยู่กรุงเทพไหม How you ดอกคำไทยเมืองดอกคำไทยเพล Anyway, oh wow, they got all the boots and everything like that. There was something that I wanted to buy. What did I want to buy? I wanted to buy something, but I can't remember what it was. Well, I guess the old saying is, if you can't remember what it was, it couldn't be that important. And holy Toledo, I just remembered. My goodness, my brain is just like leaving me. I have other business at the bank. I forgot. I totally forgot. I got my friend. He's giving me money, about $100. And I'm gonna take that $100 and I'm gonna put it on the internet. Do something, you know. So, if I can find his ATM card, then I'll be able to process. Then I'll be able to process the transaction. But that all depends. I want to make sure I have his card. Okay. Hold on a second. One of the ATMs here is not working. All right. I have my PayOram card. That's my hospital card. I have my driver's license. They're all expired. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I have, what else do I have? I have some other things here. What the hell did I do? If I can't find his card, I'm not in business. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to put this down for a second. Okay. Let me find this friggin' card. Is it in this pocket? It's in the back pocket. You see that? Always check all your pockets. Bam. Let's put this baby in there. I hope I remember the password. Let's see if I remember the password. It can only be one of two passwords, so. That's definitely what it is. English language, withdrawal, savings, 3,000 baht. That's just under $100. And they're giving me the money. You want to see that? Look at that. Give me the money, honey. All right, there you go. Take the money, put it in my pocket. Actually, I can't put it in my pocket because. And now I need to make. A deposit. I can find my card. I'm losing my shit. Oh boy, where is it? They told me to take my card. I took my card. I know I did. Take this. That goes there. 1, 2. Oh, that's right there. There we go. Take my card. Put it in another card, and then we're gonna be in business. Oh, Mancia. Okay, แป๊บนึง2 นาทีครับ
ไม่เป็นไรน้ำก็ได้
คนเป็นคนที่
ดีมาก
Alright. Okay, for the English language. Now, what I want to do is I want to make a deposit. Boom, deposit into my savings account. I confirm that there's no small money. Now watch this, guys. I'm going to put it in the machine. Okay. There it is. You see it? You see it's in the machine? It's in there. Alright, transaction's going to be completed.
The machine is counting the banknotes.
Okay, counting the banknotes. Okay, now confirm. And after we confirm, we're going to be good to go. I just need to take the card. Don't forget to take your card, buddy. Take your slip, take your card, and let the very nice lady. I call you Kapkua. Okay. Sometimes people, they just don't get, it's normal shit. Now, hold on a second. I'm trying to get this thing in there. Hold on, guys. All right, that's in there. And, all right, hold on a second. And away we go. Let's go. We are in business, everybody. We're in business and we're starting to move. Get that exercise that we need. Everybody needs to exercise. I hope all you guys like to exercise. It keeps your body in shape and your mind in shape and everything like. Sweating up here. Kai, long mi pao. Me yai qua mai. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, เท่าไหร่ครับ180 check ก่อนI just ใส่ธนาคารนี่มี80 บาทไม่พอขอโทษสแกนสแกนได้ผมเป็นประเทศอเมริกาผมอยู่ดอกคำใต้3 เดือน3 เดือนครับแต่ว่าผมอยู่ประเทศอเมริกา7 ปีเมื่อก่อนนี้อยู่ดอกคำใต้20 ปีใช่นิดหน่อยขอบคุณมากลุงครับผม Okay. We got the umbrella. A nice looking one for 180 baht. And that is what I call a good deal. Hey, oh, you want to see the umbrella? All right, let me see. You guys want to see the umbrella, don't you? Don't you want to see the umbrella that I got for $5? $5. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys the umbrella that I got for $5. Well, hold on. I'm gonna have to put down the phone for a second. All right. Thankfully, this business is closed. I'm gonna put the phone down just for a second, right here, and I'm gonna show you guys. Oh, wrong way around. I'm gonna show you guys. Can you see me? I'm gonna show you guys. Barber Brain. And unfortunately, this handle is a lot stickier than I would have. I don't know why it's so sticky. Shit. Alright, well. Let's see, how do you open it? We have all the change from doubters to believers. So basically, this is a new kind of umbrella with a handle like this. Unfortunately, I gotta tell you, to be honest, to tell the entire truth, this thing is sticky like glue. So that means when I get back to the house, I'm going to, look at that. It opens up like a reverse umbrella. Unbelievable, that's pretty ingenious. You like that. Anyway, take that, go like this, boom. I'll throw the garbage in that thing. We're going to put it in its sheath. That way, we're kicking. I don't even know. Is it even big enough to go in this sheath? I don't think so. Does it open up? There's no way this could fit. Come on. Let's try to get it in. Well, it might. It just might do it. I'm a little bit pressed about the handle. I'm like half torn between going back there and saying, listen, man, that one has, the handle is all sticky like fucking glue. But, we're not going to do that. We will make do with the situation. Okay, look at that. It did fit. I didn't think it would fit, and it fits. There we go. Hold on a second. Let's get it all the way up there, boys and girls, ladies and germs. Let's see. Hold on. I can't read any of the chat right now because you guys are like turn the camera around. But look, we did it. It's official. We have an umbrella. Hopefully. Did you guys all see that? Yeah. Anyway. Official. We have an umbrella. Unfortunately, that handle's so sticky. I'm telling you, man. It really kind of irks me. But, like I said, there's a lot of things in this world that can bother you. And that's something I can fix. So it's not really a big deal. And we're on the last stage of the walk. We have about, I want to say we have about, how long? We have about 25 minutes left to our walk. Even though today it took an extra long time. Oh, I have to check his receipts, my friend's receipts. I don't know if that's my receipt or his receipt. 600 baht, that's my receipt. Okay. Hold on a second. Thank you for bearing with me. I think I just threw his receipt away, but that's all right. I know how much money he has in the bank, and I'll just let him know. I'll just let him know what I took out and how much he has left, even though I accidentally threw his receipt back. Not good policy, but he's basically my stepfather, so he'll believe me. Okay, so now, if any of you guys have been here before, you might recognize this road. This is the main drag that goes up to Chiang Mai. You keep driving over here for about an hour and a half, and you'll end up in Chiang Mai. Probably, near, maybe. Actually, no, this umbrella comes in handy too, because some of these dogs, if they get a little too aggressive, all I gotta do is like wave. You don't hit them. You just like show your umbrella, and they know because the monks or whoever taught them with real sticks. But this he's not going to cause any trouble. Anyway, now we have about 60 baht in our pocket, which I don't think we're going to spend. There's nothing to spend it on. We have food at the house. I borrowed money from my friend for, it's not like because I'm broke. It's because I borrowed it because I'm going to put it on the internet, and and at the end of the month I'm going to give it back to him. Anyway, don't want you guys think I'm some sort of a grifter robbing my own family. Anyway. Okay, so here's the fire department, and here's the fire dog. He is very nice. He doesn't bother anybody. Not a soul. And there's another fire truck across the street. Sandbags to protect against the flooding of the water. And everything worked out pretty well. I mean, like, even though this was like a massive, a massive typhoon that we got hit by, I'm gonna say we rebounded quite nicely. I don't know if there were any injuries or anything like that. I hope there weren't. But it looks like we're gonna be back to business as usual. Business as usual. Here is, we passed this yesterday too, and I said something. This is the Tesaban. And Tesaban means city hall. So you go in here for like whatever city hall activities that you need. You don't go there to get a new license plate, but I'm going to assume, and it's not an Ampur. I think City Hall is more like where the mayor and like the mayor of the town and does all the the bureaucratic work and stuff like that. So it's kind of like different, because like if you wanted to like get your license plate renewed, you'd go to the what is called the Ministry of Motor Vehicles. And if you want to get married or get like legal documents to your house and stuff like that, you would go to what's called an Ampur. Tesaban, I don't know exactly what they do, but it's pretty nice, long, and very palatial. Palatial, that's a word. So, yeah, so it's palatial. And there's this whole new style of these buildings. I don't know if you can see this one across the street right over here, but I'm not a big fan of that kind of style I know it's new, and it's like utilitarian. It's like a utilitarian building, right? And what I mean by that is, you will find, and I don't want to misspeak, but generally speaking, if you want to talk about cultural differences from, like, say, Western and Eastern, Eastern civilization is a more utilitarian civilization, like culture. And if you don't know what that means is the emphasis on creating and building and doing things has to do with the it has to do with the practicality of what you're doing. So, like, for example, if you were in New York City or somewhere in Europe, maybe, and they were building a new house, I mean, they're going to spend like this crazy money, you know, making it look like it's ornate and stuff like that, or whatever. Maybe put an elevator in there, or who knows? Totally unnecessary, and that is not a utilitarian society. That is a society that operates on excess, right? That's a society that operates on excess. Okay? So, I prefer a utilitarian society. I prefer, just because I don't have attachments to things. I don't care if I have a big house or things. If I have something comfortable enough to live in, a seat that's comfortable enough, but some people, they want to spend $100,000 on a massage chair. What for? Total waste. Or if you think about other things about utilitarian societies, if you look in, particularly because I'm from New York originally, I haven't been there in probably a very long time, but if you look at some of their holidays, they have Halloween. Halloween, do you know what they do during Halloween in New York and probably much of America? They buy eggs and they throw eggs at people. You would never see that. You would never see that here. It's a complete waste. I mean, like, why would you waste a perfectly good... Oh, boy, I have a rock in my shoe. Why would you waste a perfectly good egg for the fun of it, It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Wasteful. Which is a reflection. See, and if you want to get even more delve deeper into, like, the psychology of things, right? That if you have a society that's willing to throw eggs, then does that stop there? It does not stop there. That's just like one rung on the ladder of waste. So many more things are being wasted: bags, paper, plastic, because they don't care, at least that's how I see it. And I don't mean to, like, get down on New York and stuff like that, because there are some really wonderful things about New York. But that's just a difference in culture, like from East, at least here in the West, Although you will find garbage piles every now and then around here too, but that's no big deal either, It was interesting. I hosted a tournament in Thailand probably about 20 years ago, and all the people that came, they hadn't been to Thailand before, and they were sort of, upper echelon and well-to-do people. And one of the guys, he was from England, he came out and he said, Can you believe the amount of garbage that is put out in the fields and stuff like that?" And I'm like thinking to myself, you go to another country and you try to think about ways you think that it should be done. That's a sad sight. Oh boy. Whew. Poor cat. Anyway, you go to another country and all of a sudden you start like projecting your ideas about how things should be or something like that. That's just ridiculous, Number one, you're here as a tourist. Number two, what business is it of yours? I mean, like the people who live here, they seem to be taking care of it just fine. They don't have, issues with it. And those piles of garbage that you sometimes see, so those piles of garbage that you sometimes see, they get cleaned up, I mean, like, you don't know what the situation is. You just see something and you think that you got to make some sort of judgment, or whatever. Not judgment, because whatever, some sort of. Anyway, I know that a lot of what I say sometimes it sounds like I'm slamming on Westerners, and I'm really not. I'm not trying to. What I'm trying to talk about is just the differences that I have experienced in more than 25 years of being in Thailand. So, for me, I mean, I'm just here, I have a wife, I'm here, I do my thing, I try not to bother anybody, and I don't try to be some sort of a, alcoholic going out trying to find underage girls or anything like that. I'm not here for that. I'm here for my wife, and to be honest with you, if I wasn't married to my wife, I probably wouldn't even be here. I'd probably go somewhere else. I don't know. I mean, Thailand's nice and everything like that, but I enjoy it. It's nice. People generally are very nice, People mind their own business. The infrastructure's pretty good and everything like that. The weather is fantastic, if you ask me. Some people can't handle the heat. I like the heat, I like rain, I mean... And nature is all around us. I like that. So, but that being said, like I said, if I wasn't married to my wife, I don't know, I'd probably be doing something else. And I love my wife dearly. Anyway, so. Let's see here. The Tanya Porn Produce, written in Thai, Chinese, and English. Have no idea what they produce, but they look like a pretty serious operation. Now, pretty soon, I'm going to walk on the other side of the street after I pass this Watt, right? After we get past this Watt, I'm going to walk on the other side of the street. The reason for that is... there's a very small sidewalk here that, it's not really, it's just a little bit difficult for me to walk on. And I'll cross the street because then I can see the cars coming towards me, I don't have to worry about maybe somebody not seeing me, which obviously that's like, highly unlikely, but I don't know. I just enjoy to walk on the other side of the street. And as it turns out, on the other side of the street is where I will be turning onto the street where my wife and I live. All right, so far no traffic in the. Yeah, there's that Watt. Isn't that beautiful? Wow, that is something else. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you're seeing things that you don't normally see. And yeah, I don't know. Hope you're having a good time. I think I'll be making some other videos today and stuff like that. I've got some ideas for some other stuff. I don't know, if you look at the channel, we have about, 400 videos uploaded. You probably want to skip the live videos, but we have some videos of our tortoise. We have a tortoise. His name is Mr. T, the African Sulcata tortoise, which actually the full name would be the African Spurred Sulcata tortoise, and he weighs about 100 pounds. And he's quite nice. The temperament of Sulcata tortoises are, very, very nice. They don't attack people or anything like that, as far as I know. And they're vegetarian, so for the most part. I did read an article that they have been seen eating carrion. Carrion is like, roadkill or something like that. But I don't know if that's true, but I read it. Our tortoise does not eat carrion. He eats carrots and okra and whatever good vegetables like mulberry leaves, very high fiber diet, like grasses and stuff like that. That's what they eat. They like that a lot. But I guess if I had to come back if you asked me if I had to come back and reincarnate it into another animal, I really don't think I'd want to be a tortoise, because, man, they just sit around. They don't do anything. I mean, they must be bored out of their minds. I'd like to maybe be a dog. A dog would be pretty interesting, or a horse, or how about a lion? I wouldn't. Actually, I don't want to be a lion. I wouldn't want to be a lion. Because lions, they get into like all those fights and everything like that. I definitely wouldn't want to be a bear. Bears are vicious, man. They are vicious. They fight. They kill each other. I could skip that. I wouldn't want to be a chimpanzee either. Chimpanzees, they have very complex societies. So maybe I'm thinking, if I could think, how about a parrot? A parrot wouldn't be such a vegetarian parrot wouldn't be so bad, or maybe an albatross, fly over the ocean. That might not be a bad idea. I don't know. If you were going to come back in reincarnation, what would you want to come back as? Anyway, I think this is the end of the stream. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you all have a very nice, beautiful day. God bless you, and I love you all.